Today in this video, I'm going to be talking directly to salespeople, closers, appointment setters, anybody that's on the sales team earning commission. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that's killing your close rate, even if you're doing everything else correct. And that is desperation. Look, the moment a prospect can smell that you're desperate for the sale, you've lost. It doesn't matter how good your script is, how polished your pitch is, or how many objection handling techniques you know. Here's the thing, desperation kills trust. And without trust, you cannot close. So in the next couple of minutes throughout this video, I'm going to be breaking down how to completely shift your communication style, build genuine trust with prospects, and close more deals by actually caring less about the immediate sale. So let's get right into it. Now, here's the reality for most commission-based salespeople. You're hungry, right? You need deals or you need to close deals to pay for things such as your bills. You need to hit your quota, and you need that commission check. And because of that, you treat every prospect like they're your last meal. You push, you chase, you corner them, and you use every trick in the book to try and force them into simply saying yes. And your prospects can feel it from a mile away, newsflash. And when you are desperate, your entire energy changes, your tonality shifts, and your questions become interrogative instead of conversational, right? And you stop listening and start pushing. And here's the ironic part about all of this. The more desperate you are, the less you close. And this is simply backed by stats. Because people don't buy from salespeople they don't trust, right? It comes down to the know, like, and trust factor. And they don't trust the salespeople who feel like they're just trying to take something from them, right? And here's what I see all the time. A salesperson gets on a call, and within the first couple of minutes, they're already trying to qualify the prospect to death. Instead of trying to humanize first and then qualify, they go straight for the qualification questions, right? How much are you making right now? What's your budget? When are you looking to get started? Or started, I should say. And that right there is not a conversation. It's an interrogation. And the prospect will automatically shut down and the guard will be raised, right? And now you're fighting an uphill battle for the rest of the call, right? Because the problem isn't your script, right? The problem is your energy. You're treating them like a transaction instead of a conversation with another person, right? So here's the shift that you need to make today. Stop selling and start helping, right? And if your offer that you're selling doesn't help people, I'm sorry to say, find a different offer that actually helps people, right? Because the best salespeople I've seen don't ever sound like salespeople at all. They sound like a friend who genuinely want to help you solve a problem, right? Now, think about how you actually talk with your friends. You're relaxed, you listen, hopefully, and you ask questions because you're just curious about their life, not because you're trying to trap them in a corner, right? And the advice you give, well, you give advice freely, right? And you're not worried about, giving away too much for free because you actually care about helping them, right? And that's the energy you need to bring to every sales call. Because when you talk to a prospect, your first priority should be them, not your product or service, not your commission, them. So ask them, what are they dealing with? What's their actual problem? What have they tried? What have they not tried? What's working? What's not, right? And here's the key. You need to be genuinely curious about the answers. Hormozi says it best. You need to have childlike curiosity, and you should actually live by that, right? Not curious because you're trying to freaking find an angle to pitch them. Curious because you actually want to understand their situation so that you can help them, right? And when you do this, something magical happens. You will definitely see the prospect starts to relax. Their guard comes down, right? And they start talking openly with you and they start trusting you. And trust is what closes deals, not persuasion techniques, not closing tricks, trust. And I've closed more deals by having real human conversations than I ever did by following the same rigid sales framework that treats people like targets essentially. Specifically, when the closers that we hire here at SalesMatch for our clients as well, they're going to be closers that aren't trained on hard sell techniques, because hard sell techniques are out the door, right? Sure, you can get more clients across the line by hard selling them, but that is simply going to cause problems in your back end, because you're going to be dealing with buyer's remorse, people who did not actually want to move forward, but they were forced by the closer to move forward. Now you have to deal with refunds, right? So there's a lot to think about, and specifically the way that I think about sales is exactly like I just said, having a friendly conversation with a prospect and genuinely trying to help them, right? Now, here's the mindset shift that changed everything for me specifically, and I want you to internalize this specifically. Stop thinking of every prospect as an immediate sale, right? Especially in high ticket sales, right? People don't buy on the first call. They need time. They need time to trust you. They need to see that you're not just another salesperson trying to hit quota, right? So instead of trying to close everyone right now, focus on building a pipeline of people who you trust and who trust you and will buy when the time is right, right? Now, how do you do that? Well, simply by being genuine and being genuinely helpful without expecting anything in return, right? Send them resources, share insight, answer their freaking questions, and give them value even if they never bought anything from you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Craig, I'm on commission. I don't have time to give away free shit for free, right? Now, here's the truth. The salespeople who think like that stay broke. That's facts, right? And the ones who understand this and understand that relationships compound over time, they're the ones that consistently are hitting six figures. Because when you help somebody without asking for anything, you stack trust. And when they're ready to buy, or when they know somebody who needs what you offer, who do you think they're going to call? Not the desperate salesperson who tried to corner them into a sale. They're going to call you, the person who actually helped them, right? And I've had prospects come back to me, 6 months, 12 months, even 15 months later, which shocked me as well, and say, I'm ready to move forward now. Let's do this. Why? Because I didn't force it, right? I gave value and I kept in touch and keep giving them value, and I treated them like a human, not just a number in the CRM. And the best part, is when they come back on their own terms, right? They close, basically the close will be much easier, right? There's no objection handling, there's no back and forth. They've already decided to trust you. And that's the power of playing the long game. And a little hint there, when you play the long game, you have to stay top of mind, right? Reach out with value, right? Put them into your newsletter or your email list, right? Keep providing value so you stay top of mind. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually go for the close, right? Because I see salespeople make this mistake, consistently and constantly. They try to force it, right? They back the prospect into a corner with a gotcha question, right? And they use high pressure techniques, right? They manipulate the conversation to make the prospect feel like they have no choice but to say yes. And you know what? Sometimes it works, you get the sale. But here's what's going to happen next. Like I mentioned before, buyer's remorse, right? The prospect realizes that they were pushed into something that they weren't really fully ready for, right? And they feel manipulated. And within a week, they're out by asking for a refund. Or worse, they become a nightmare of a client, consistently complaining, demanding, never happy, because the relationship started on a foundation of pressure instead of trust. Right? High pressure closes, they create a high refund rate environment, and also, they allow for low quality clients to come through the door. Trust me, I've done that and it's not worth it, right? Here's the better approach. When you go for the close, you should already know the answer, right? Because if you've had a real conversation with a prospect, if you've listened, and if you've actually built trust, you'll know whether they're ready or not, right? And if they're ready, the close is natural. It's not a battle. It's not a tug back and forth. It's not a tug of war. It's a mutual agreement. And if they're not ready, simply don't force it, right? Let it go. And I know that's hard to hear, especially when you're on commission and you need the deal, but forcing a close that's not there doesn't help you. It creates refunds, bad reviews, and wasted time, right? So instead, keep the relationship warm, check in, provide value, and when they're ready, they'll simply come back to you. Because the outcome is going to be the outcome. You cannot control when somebody buys, right? But you can control whether you build trust and position yourself as somebody worth buying from. Now, here's something that you need to understand. We are living in this whole environment, where people don't trust people anymore, right? People are more skeptical than ever before. They've been burned by pushy salespeople, and they've been manipulated by false promises, right? And they've been sold on things that they didn't even need in the first place. So when they get on a call with you, their default setting is distrust. And your job isn't to overcome that with clever techniques and tactics, right? Your job is to be different. Be the salesperson that actually listens and cares about them. Be the salesperson who prioritizes their needs over your commission. Be the one that's willing to walk away if it's not the right fit. Because when you do that, you stand out. You build real trust. And trust is the only thing that cuts through the noise in a world where everybody is trying to sell something to somebody, right? So stop being so desperate. Stop chasing the immediate sale and stop forcing closes. Start treating prospects like friends. Start giving value. Start building relationships. That's how you build a pipeline that pays you for years and years and years, not just this month, right? And if this resonated with you, I hate to ask it, but if you can hit the like button and subscribe if you want more content like that, it really, really helps out the algorithm. But other than that, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.